campaign that we are doing with Give SI and our partners at Oasis Outdoors, Integrity Roofing and Exterior, Southern Illinois Community Foundation, and our partners at WSIL News 3. We're just almost not quite half over. We will finish up at 10 o'clock tonight. So we've got a long ways to go. But today is really about the organizations that are raising money. We want to give you, the audience, an opportunity to hear from them, to hear what they do and the amazing things that they do for our community throughout Southern Illinois. Today, I have with me, we had a little bit of problems at the beginning, but we finally got it to work out. But Jennifer Goley of Survivor Empowerment Center is going to talk a little bit about what they do and the huge impact they have on our region. Hi, Jennifer. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm well. How about you?
I'm doing all right. I'm hanging in there.
So do you want me to just start in on our available services? Okay, so we were actually founded in 1972. We recently celebrated our 50th anniversary, so most people are familiar with us as the Women's Center. We recently changed our name to the Survivor Empowerment Center, but we're still doing the same work, and that work is to end domestic violence and sexual assault and provide counseling services for survivors and their non-offending significant others throughout our 8-county region. We've done that for 50 years, but the Women's Center started as a safe place for women to have conversations about things like equal rights. So it started in the second wave of civil rights. It was sort of born of that. And so we're still maintaining the integrity of survivors that are working their way through the criminal justice process, for example, whether it be via sexual assault or a domestic violence issue. So we have legal advocates that provide protective orders and accompany survivors to court in both the civil and criminal sectors. Civil for protective orders and criminal whenever we're following a sexual assault case as it progresses through the judicial process. We also, at our domestic violence shelter, where we have a residential section, it houses about 40 people. That will increase after we're able to open up our beds downstairs in our newly renovated basement, where we provided 6 additional beds. Our shelter program is accessible for anyone fleeing from domestic violence. They don't even necessarily need to live within the 8-county region because they assume our address when they come here. But we certainly take survivors from our 8-county region very regularly. Counties most served: Franklin, Williamson, Jackson, Saline. And we also have outreach offices in each of those respective counties where you can access an advocate, access counseling. But here at the shelter, just to sort of expand on that, we have a transitional housing manager, because after folks come to us, be it a family unit, we want to be able to place them, and we want to be able to sort of take the weight of any financial stress away for 2 years. So we'll place them in a transitional unit with or without kiddos, more of the time with kiddos, for up to 2 years. And they can reap the benefits of sort of starting over in life and having that leg up that we oftentimes don't get as survivors. And further, we have a children's program, we have parenting classes, we have counseling for ages 3 and up for domestic violence and sexual assault survivors. We also have prevention education. This is a position that goes out in the community and educates educators and other people around vulnerable populations what to watch for with regard to domestic violence and sexual assault. So, for example, children in school settings. And that is a more successful and productive way to sort of umbrella more people in our region and create a community that is able to easily identify people that are suffering from either of those things and maybe haven't had the opportunity to come forward and disclose to anyone. We do have advocates and counselors that work within the school setting and almost have become sort of part of the functioning of certain districts in the area, because there's such a large need for kiddos to have domestic violence and sexual assault counseling available for them. Let's see, there's a lot more that I could probably go on about, such as our development specialist, Tara, who, if you've been to any of our recent events, has done a wonderful job planning all of them. And I think this year, again, being that we're celebrating 50 years, we've really had a lot of events where we've been out in the public eye. And so I'm happy to be able to expand on what our services are and give an overview for those who aren't familiar with us or are familiar with us as the Women's Center. And let me also say that we're still doing the same work that we did when we were named the Women's Center. We're just simply saying that survivors are not only women, and that we provide services for survivors of all genders and races, and that we don't discriminate in that way in terms of who we provide healing and help for. So just keeping that in mind, we are still doing the same hard work for our community that we always have been.
So when we're talking about over the last couple of years, obviously there was the pandemic. Congratulations on surviving that and being able to push through. But what did that, going through that experience, what did it do to the program? Did you see an increase? Did you see more of a demand? Were you able to reach out a little bit more? Was that a time of where you were able to actually reach out and have some focused time to try to help some people in those situations?
Sure. So I was actually still in advocacy, and I was in either program throughout the course of the pandemic. I was able to work in both programs, and I've had the privilege of serving survivors of sexual assault and domestic violence. We did not see a decrease whatsoever when people were hunkered down and they didn't want to leave their homes. I suppose in the very initial stages of that, where everything was uncertain, we weren't sure about masks, and I mean, we didn't even have any at that point. There was a bit of a decrease, but I would say shortly after that, within the following weeks, things picked up, so to speak, and our numbers really didn't fall. In terms of sexual assault, I think there was a slower period that we went through, though we're always sort of on high alert during red zone periods. Anyhow, during the year, everything not necessarily has a pattern to it, but like anything else, and I hate to ever describe it in this way, but there are times of the year where people are most or more vulnerable, and that sometimes elicits more crime that goes on that we have to deal with. So different times of the year, different numbers, and that's always been true. Nothing slowed down during COVID, and now we are back in office fully. I think that most of us were always still in office, but we did have certain periods of time where our shelter was even shut down because of like mass COVID outbreaks. And so we went through quite a lot. To that, I have to attribute the credit to, of course, the staff in its entirety, but our previous administration, Kathy and Martha did an excellent job at making sure that our center has been a staple in this region for decades. And that includes throughout a budget crisis as well, where the state had not been funding us for an entire year. We were not included in the budget. So we have had a very strong fiscal management team and a strong administration for decades. So I'm just trying to continue to carry that torch.
I think you mentioned that you're renovating the basement and being able to provide, I think it's 6 more beds for individuals, which is, probably doesn't sound like a lot to a lot of people, but I'm sure that is like life altering to so many that can have that opportunity and to be able to just come there. And even though it's the basement, I'm sure you guys are going to do a great job of making it, comfortable, relaxing, and most importantly, safe. Is part of the funds that you're raising today through the Give SI campaign, are some of those funds going to go to that to help kind of completely open and finish that?
Sure. So the basement project actually was part of our capital campaign. And so those renovations, minus minor security details, have already been addressed, and the basement is ready to be opened. This campaign that we're sort of appealing for this year will go toward bathroom renovations in our main shelter area. So while we do, and the basement's beautiful, you're right, they did a wonderful job with it. It's I can't say enough good things about it. We finally have a properly handicapped accessible bathroom that isn't sort of hard to maneuver through, and we'd like to carry that same level of standard of living throughout the shelter. And so now our bigger projects are in the older shelter area, and this building is very dated, and we need to redo those bathrooms so that they're equally accessible for all of our clients. As well, there's general upkeep to this residential facility. As you can imagine, it's an old apartment building, so it's quite the feat to keep this up every year and keep this running every year. And we have a maintenance person that's here 24 hours a day to that effect. But even so, there are bigger projects that will always come. And I think that for us to maintain the biggest and not most important, but what we're most recognized for, which is our shelter, that we provide refuge for survivors within, we need this backup funding as a measure to not be so scared of an emergency happening or have to displace people in hotels for as long as we possibly could if something catastrophic were to happen. So funding in upkeep of this facility is probably second to client care, the most important thing that we're going to spend our money on. And in fact, it's part of that client care. But I mean, aside from the necessities that we're providing them, a place to stay and the things they need, those are the things that we need to survive. Those are the things that they need help with to survive. So it is of the utmost, and we're appreciative for everything that anyone in our community is able to provide. We've been well supported by Southern Illinois for, again, 50 years. And this opportunity allows you to double your donation. So if ever there were a time to give, this would be the one that's going to benefit the center the most.
Excellent. And I love the name. You took two words, survivor, very positive, and it's empowering. And then you put empowerment, and you put those together to call it a center. So what a great name for people to not have I guess sometimes there's a stigma with names over when you've been in business for 50 years or an organization for 50 years, people build up this idea. And I love the two names together because I think for the next 50 years, the word survivor and the word empowerment are going to be two things that I think will reach out to people that are in domestic violence and say, that's what I want. I want to go there because I need to change my life, and now's the time, and this is the right place. So kudos on the name too. I love it. I didn't know about the name change until you told me today. So
hey, see, more people need to be aware, and this opportunities like this is another one for us to make people aware that we're still here. So if you're looking for the Women's Center and you can't find us, we're the Survivor Empowerment Center. We still provide those emergency orders of protection and counseling services for survivors. So please don't hesitate to reach out. We do and are well equipped and have the staff to provide the empowerment that individuals need to leave situations that they might be trapped in, or to disclose when it's most important for people to possibly suffer repercussion for the damage that they've caused. So please reach out. We are still here.
So if you want to donate, there's a scrolling marquee at the bottom. You can click that, and you're going to go to the Survivor Empowerment Center, formerly known as the Women's Center. You can, or I think it was the Women's Center. I've already got the Survivors Empowerment Center in my head. You're going to click that link. You will look for them, and you will donate. And like Jennifer said, today is the day. If you're going to donate, the proceeds can triple, they could double, just depends on how much is raised and how much is donated, but they will make more money off of every donation today by the kind contributions from our sponsors and other people donating as a whole today. So go in there, donate, and help the people. We don't need to say just women, but we need to say help the people in our community that are in a very bad situation, that feel lost, maybe hopeless, and they need the light. And I will tell you, Jennifer and her team over there are going to be the light that you need, and they have the support, and they will help you get back to where you need to go. And most importantly, and I've said this throughout the day, I'm sure you love these people too. So there's probably a lot of love going out for all the people that need help. So donate, chip in, dig deep, and make a life happen that can be changed today. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.